Okay, cool. Hello everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. Testing a new function really for scheduling as well, something I've not really done before, so gave that a go for the purpose of today. And we're at Bristol Airport with the UK 2000 scenery. Those of you who regularly tune in, welcome back. It's nice to see you. And those of you who are new to the channel, make sure you click on the like and subscribe button. That'll be my mate Graham that's just spawned in by the looks of it, potentially. So Bristol Airport is it's UK 2000, it's Payware scenery. It's about £15 or so. They've got a Christmas sale on at the moment, so you can actually go ahead and buy at a cheaper rate. But with the release of the new Manchester Airport from Mako Simulations, I'm a little bit torn as to whether or not I think this sort of thing's value for money anymore, being a small regional airport in the sim. So I'll leave it to you guys to change my mind. So we need to go ahead and start the flight plan input into the MCDU, and we're going EGGD, which is the ICAO code for Bristol, to Echo Golf November Tango, which is Newcastle. Both regional airports, and interestingly, one is Payware, the Bristol one, and the other one is Freeware. And more interestingly as well, when we get to Newcastle and have a look at that, in a way we can compare that to the pre-release videos and photographs from the new scenery that I think Orbx are going to launch soon, which will be Payware. So in my mind there, is that going to be worth it? Possibly not. Early thoughts would be. So we've got the initial bit there, Bristol to Newcastle, and let's go ahead and fill out the rest of the data, and we can go ahead and look at the METAR here. So we've got wind 060 at 14 knots, so we know that we're going to be departing on runway 09 at Bristol, taking off into wind. And our route from SimBrief, which I've verified via Eurocontrol and SkyVector, is the Bristol or BCN1 Zulu departure. There we go, that's gone into that nav display there, as we can see. So it's actually routing us up towards sort of Worcestershire, and then we're going to head north round away from London basically, which makes sense, being as though it's a extremely busy place. Bristol Airways, so we want the November 864 airway to Neaton. And then from there the UP17 airway to Pol. And Pol is going to be the start of our star for Newcastle. And as we can see, we're testing a new thing there. We've got the new, or the correct decel icon on the nav display, so we're going to test the functionality of that for the fly-by-wire project. Let's go ahead and insert the entire flight plan as is. And there we go, gave that a second for the aircraft to build it into the route, with all the waypoints along the airways, Neaton, Anjak, Cooksum, Barton and Pol. From Pol we can go ahead and select EGNT. And I think the plan suggested ILS 07, but we could always change that when we get closer, dynamically as we get towards the start of the star. And we want that Pol 1 November arrival. Ooh, that looks messy as hell. Oh good, there we go. So Gokov Urkor, and I'm just going to look on the actual charts to see if that's correct. So Urkor, then Zodru Etses. Lovely, there we go, that's all in there, they're looking good. So let's insert temporary. The guy to the right hand side of me, Graham, a good friend, we used to actually fly together years ago, doing sort of basic instruction and tuition, and his call sign is, I think, EZ2568, I think. We're the EZ257. What else can we get ready for? We need the latest, we need the actual pressure, so that's 989 hectopascals. So we're using Unreal Weather, so we actually get the latest METAR there, which is good for us, in absence of ATC at Bristol. Hello AD boy, welcome. Flightwire, are you using the new, are you using the brand new dev version from the fly-by-wire team by any chance? I'm not sure if that would be the issue for you. I flew yesterday in a stream and I didn't really have any issues, so not too sure what's going on there. Yeah, Orbx Newcastle, it possibly is quite nice. So the photographs and the renders, the images and things looked fantastic, but I've noticed the freeware version that's available on flightsim.to, so I figured I'd actually just give that a go and see how good that is. Surface for the the SID, sorry, the standard instrument departure is 6,000, although we have no ATC, so we'll likely climb higher, and we've set a preliminary cruise for today of flight level 240. We'll probably reach that and then hit descent already. Now we've imported or planned the flight plan, we can go to init-B and we can go ahead and type in our zero fuel weight data and zero fuel weight centre of gravity, which I've already calculated. So we've got 53.54 tonnes slash 22.68. And then we get the fuel planning tab. We can go ahead and select that, and it's telling us we need 3.2 tonnes of fuel, and we've got 3.9 tonnes there, so we could request the fuel truck and do it all that way, but let's just drop it down. Wish they created a slightly more intuitive UI for this, because doing 1% is quite fiddly. There we go. Naturally as well, being on VATSIM, we need to pop our flight plan into the vPilot software, so that all the controllers around us can know they know what we're doing. So I'm just going to use what we've planned on SimBrief and do a quick copy and paste into that flight plan tab. Departure time, it's 1300 Zulu now, so we'll look at maybe 1320 at the very latest, and we've got a flight time of only just 45 minutes. We're going to turn around at Newcastle and then fly back to Bristol as well. And we've got 1 hour 30 fuel, actually we've got 1 hour 15 fuel. Flight level 240, although we're heading... See, it's an odd one because we're departing and actually heading east, so we'd need an odd initially, but then we're heading ever so slightly left of north, so I'm actually going to say we're going to need a different flight level of, let's see, flight level 230. And it was that Pole 1. Good grief. Pole 1 November is what we want. So let's file that flight plan. Then fetch it from the server. So that's the vPilot bit set up ready to go. Just catch up on the live chat. I'm not very good at multitasking. Yeah, I've noticed that sometimes the constraints they kick off a little bit, and the auto thrust I've noticed becomes an issue. So you get the aircraft can't decide between cruise altitude or descent speed. Cruise speed or descent speed. So it starts to switch between the two consistently, which is really annoying. I'm not sure if that can be fixed. Bristol's a short runway, and it actually directs for flaps 2 for departure. So flaps, we want to set 2 there. But the process is the same for us. Go ahead and cycle the V speeds so we can get them all on the primary flight display there. We've got that V1 at 121, V rotate at 122, and then that V2 speed of 126, which is in magenta. Do a quick Abdul, welcome, good to see you tuning in. Artful Plonker, hello, welcome. We've got that transponder at set 2200 there for us, as we don't have ATC here currently, and wait for Graham to get ready as well. Have we got everything out of the way? Yeah, good, so that's already spawned stuff out of the way. Bristol traffic, EZ257 radio check.
Bristol traffic, station calling 555.
Likewise, readability 5. G, if you're ready, you can push first, and I'll either push ahead or you can taxi ahead.
Roger, easy.
Frames per second, they tend to flutter around 50, 60, 70 in the cruise, and on the ground, busy places, it drops down to about 30, but that's good enough for me. And we are pretty much ready to go, so we'll just wait for Graham to push back, and in the meantime, while we wait for him, I can just show you guys window capture. So there's the charts for Bristol ground, and we're at stand 1, which is right in the middle of the screen in front of the terminal building. We're going to push back facing west towards Cardiff, and then we're going to taxi down Zulu and Golf. We're going to continue down, following that left portion all the way down here towards Golf X-ray, which is a hold point for runway 09. And then with our flaps 2, we're going to depart in turn with the EasyJet flight to the right hand side of us on that runway 09, which has got a length of 2,011 metres, so that's why we require flaps 2. After departure, at the very bottom of your screen, we're going to head east, which is the line towards the right hand side where the cursor is, and then we're going to head left just before Bath, and then we're going to turn up and head over towards Wales. You can see there we've got at 6,000 and a few other bits pending ATC, and then we're going to turn north from Brecon and head up towards Newcastle. When we get towards Newcastle, we're going to join the Pole 1 November arrival, which is the bottom there via Pole Hill. And you can see there we have to be at Urquhart flight level 160, Zodru flight level 120, and then Etses at flight level 90. And then we make our way up towards Etses, which is where there's a hold if it's busy, although I don't think it will be. We're expecting runway 07 for landing, so we'll have to route in via that, and we'll just sort of play it by ear as we go. But all of the yellow bits on the charts indicate high terrain, so we have to be mindful of all of that as well, and it looks like potentially it requires us to overfly the Newcastle NDB. So we'll look at all of that as we make our way. So I'll switch the charts back to the ones I need for our departure, and I'll just see what Graham's doing. He's already pushed some micro stutters there, guys, so I'm not sure why. Bristol traffic easy 257 is stand 1, push start, facing east.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Beacons on.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back.
So the UK 2000 scenery, it was about £15 or so to purchase as Payware. The only reason why I purchased it was for the nostalgia of it, really. The very first base that I operated out of when I was working for some airlines. And it's a fantastic little airport as well. The default is pretty woeful, so I sort of made the decision to go ahead and have a little splurge on this scenery. A few things that are new for Microsoft Flight Simulator for the developing side of things, they've actually been able to add the correct elevation and things to the runway, so we actually get quite a accurate runway elevation with all the bumps and the notorious hump as well that's known at Bristol. Engine 2 start. So I've updated the very latest NVIDIA driver that came out, I think yesterday or the day before. I'm not sure if that's what's causing my odd micro stutters. I hope not. I'm very good, Abdul, thank you. Trying a few bits for today in preparation for that group flight tomorrow, and we'll be flying from Corfu to Skiathos in whatever aircraft people want to join the Microsoft Flight Simulator multiplayer server with. Graham's waiting for us. Lots of rain, and we've got engine 1 avail. Engine 2 avail, so we'll start engine 1. Hello Fly Jonas, welcome. Hello David. The A320 is working okay actually for the time being. I've testing a few PRs yesterday and they seem to be quite successful. Parking brakes set.
Parking brakes set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you on the right with the pin.
We're testing a new D-cell today.
Disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
I've just tried to update the Luke Air tool and put the brand new version in, but I keep getting all sorts of syntax errors and things, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. Let's put some wipers on. Nose light taxi, all those are good. We'll wait for that engine 1 avail message, which we've got there. So we'll turn crossfeed off, APU bleed, master, engine mode norm, and we want flaps 2 for departure. Bristol traffic easy 257 taxi into hold Golf X-ray for runway 09 via Zulu and Golf.
Easy 570 is following the company traffic at Bristol.
So we want, in case of rejected takeoff, we'll have our auto brake set to max. Might have to use the old version of the Luke Air tool actually. Let's have a little look at EasyJet announcements. Safety demo.
Now ask for your attention while we take you through the safety procedures on this aircraft.
That's loud.
A safety
Let's turn that down.
your seat pocket showing the exit route, oxygen mask, life jacket, and brace position that you must adopt. You hear brace, brace. There are 2 emergency exits at the rear, or in the middle, and 2 at the front of the
Spoilers arm.
Floor lighting will guide you to an exit. Please be aware that your nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, leave all cabin baggage on board. Your seatbelt is fastened, adjusted, and released as shown. It must be fastened when the seatbelt signs are on, and we recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. If the air supply fails, masks will drop from above you. Pull the mask towards you to start the oxygen. Put the mask over your nose and mouth. Hold in place with the strap. Pull on each side to adjust. Put on your own mask before helping others.
There are two options for Bristol Airport's Payware UK 2000 scenery. You can get one with static aircraft as well, but I tend to avoid that in VATSIM.
Click together and pull the strap to adjust. Do not inflate it inside the aircraft. When outside, inflate by pulling the toggle. If it fails to inflate or needs topping up, blow into the seal. There is a light and whistle to attract attention. We also carry flotation aids for children. Your tray tables must now be stowed, armrest down, window blinds open, and seatbelts fastened. We wish you a pleasant flight with EGGD.
So I've updated the NVIDIA driver, and I'm definitely getting slightly worse performance. I'm getting a few more micro stutters, which I didn't have on the old driver, so not sure what's happening there. Just check that METAR again. That's 989 still for the QNH. We can see there we've got wind 060 at 17 knots, so not directly down the runway, ever so slight crosswind, quite strong actually, 17 knot winds as well. Light rain, broken clouds at 1500, broken clouds at 2200, temperature of 5 degrees. Dew point 04, and that QNH there of 989. Go ahead and get the cabin ready. And we're listening out for other people to shout if they're on approach at Bristol. There's one of the ILS masts for the glide slope. Bristol traffic easy 257 via Golf X-ray lining up and departing runway 09. Let's light her up with strobes and
The
things.
company traffic will line up and wait for EC570 at Bristol.
So Bristol's got a famous hump in the runway. So as you get to about 10-mile final, runway 09. See, this is the thing. You can't turn around and say you weren't warned, because that guy could hear us actually all lining up. So he's 10 miles anyway, so he's got a couple of minutes. Start the chrono, and everything else is pretty much set. So bit of power, 50%. And let's set flex. Thrust set. So already having to put in a little bit of rudder. It's 80 knots already, 100 knots. V1. Rotate. Posi regular up. Bristol traffic easy 257's airborne. The guy out on finals will just help him out by calling up saying that we're on that we're airborne already.
EC570 is going for a straight out departure for the company traffic on final.
This is where the autopilot sticks us into a weird nosedive, but we can sort that. And we can clean the aircraft up. Now we're passing that slapped speed. So bring the flaps in and disarm that spoiler. Hello Ashish, welcome. Long time no see indeed. Nice to see you tuning in again. Let's turn that off as well, shall we? Starting that left turn. I'm actually going to bring the speed off a little bit because
EC 570 is airborne.
we don't want to. It's quite a tight turn, so we don't want to smash around that too much. Thank you, Ashish. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Ian. Welcome. Starting to punch through the cloud.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your seatbelt fastened while the seatbelt signs are off. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated. Toilets are located at each end of the cabin. Remember that smoking is not permitted at any time. These include e-cigarettes.
Where's the all-weather radar?
In just a few moments, you'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase from a selection of fresh food available today. All details can be found in your in-flight notes. You can also purchase a selection of hot beverages, together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payments in pounds, euros, most major
Whoa.
currencies, and together your
That
credit
scroll zoom is so
card.
frustrating.
Would be greatly appreciated. And if we could be of any
It's got
further
Bristol down below.
you join us in the cabin shortly.
Now we're turning upon, and there's Graham by the looks of it. Departing off in the distance. We go ahead and go to standard pressure as well now. Why not? So it's quite cold outside, and I'd expect that with temperature like this, as we start to descend at the very least, we will start to get icing on the airframe. There's Graham. Now it's going to be interesting for those of you who have purchased the Orbx Newcastle scenery. It'll be interesting to hear your feedback when we get to Newcastle to see what the differences are, because you guys will know it particularly well. Whereas I'm not only flying into Newcastle for the very first time in the sim, I'm also looking at some new Freeware scenery as well for the first time. Make sure those of you who aren't aware as well, you join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the group flight. All the information for which is in our Discord server on the 500 sub group flight channel. We're just passing 10,000, so I've popped those landing lights and things off. So Bristol, the Bristol Airport scenery from UK 2000 is quite nice. There were some issues, teething issues at the beginning of the sim, where some textures would appear completely white, which some of you may have seen on a live stream a little while ago, but that was fixed quite quickly, in fairness to them. The only thing in my mind is with some new scenery players like Mako Sim coming online for everybody to start downloading the Manchester Airport scenery. I question whether or not UK 2000 and all of these other developers could justify charging twice as much effectively, because the same amount of work is going in. But we'll see what they do with the pricing in due course, I suppose. So let's get rid of that weather radar so we don't get blinded by all the colour bleeding out of the screen. And we can see that Brecon waypoint coming up in 15 nautical miles. They're currently working on TCAS at the moment, so I'd actually be able to see where my mate is, but I can't see where he is currently. Yeah, and human reactions are definitely one of my big gripes is that I've got the London City Orbx Payware add-on, which I won in a competition on another server on Discord somewhere in a giveaway, and I definitely wouldn't have paid for it because it's been uploaded with a very out-of-date airport layout, and it's not been updated since by Orbx, which is quite annoying. I can't really work it out, to be fair. Mako Sim is updating his scenery loads, and he's made the commitment to update it with the airport as it develops, which is great to hear, but I would expect Orbx and these other bigger companies to work just as hard, because otherwise they're going to lose market shares to smaller disruptor companies like Mako. Trying to sort of see how many waypoints we might have before we hit Pol, and I don't think it's many. It's after Nitor, I think. Let's see if we see through that murk. Pol's here somewhere. It might be that plus actually. 120 miles. Yeah. It's about 120 nautical miles away. 160 on the arc. Yeah. Not bad at all. Nice short journey for us today, guys. Hello William, welcome. Make sure if you guys are on our Discord server as well, if you're going to be joining us tomorrow, react to the message that's on the group flight channel just with a thumbs up to let us know that you're going to be joining us on the day. I'll put details up on it later. It'll probably be one of the I can't remember what they how they do it now actually. Is it on Microsoft the multiplayer server? I think it has a like Europe 1 and a few other things for the servers. We'll probably be on Europe 1. But the details will all go onto the Discord server. Ideally we'd all go onto the same server, and then we should all be able to see each other in theory. Mishi, that's not good. The only thing I could maybe suggest would be to remove some of the sceneries and community mods out of your community folder, and then add 1 or 2 in at a time until you find what the culprit is. You might have some out-of-date mods that have not been updated since the patch that may be crashing your sim. I had to remove the G1000 mod, for example, when that was released because of crash to desktop issues linked to that. I'm just going to have a quick look at the charts. So from ETSES, I can't see where the airport is on the Newcastle charts. They're not great. ETSES. So it looks like we're going to be committing to an approach very similar to that of Leeds Bradford. If I show you the charts and just explain sort of as I'm looking at it. So these are the charts for Newcastle with the ILS of runway 07. I'm not sure if that's going to be the runway in use, so let me just type in .METAR EGNT. Wind 300 at 6 knots. Brilliant, so it's basically a complete crosswind. So what we'll be looking to do is fly into that NDB, that initial approach fix of NT352 for runway 07. Then we're going to be turning left, and because of our approach weight, well, landing weight and performance and things, we'll probably fall into category C today. Most of my flights will be category D, which is a speed band relevant to performance of the aircraft, basically how fast your approach speed will be. So if you're quite heavy, for example, you might fall into category D in an Airbus A320neo. If you're quite light, as we are today, then we'll be category C. So we'll fly from that NDB, that initial approach fix of NT352, which is those dotted lines in the middle, and we're going to head 259 degrees out to 8.9 DME. I can't do the doodles today for some reason. Once we get to 8.9 miles, so it says there new 9.2 DME, so we'll probably use that. Newcastle, that's going to be that VOR. Right, we'll do 8.9 DME, and then we're going to turn left and then head in for our final approach, which is 066 degrees, as we can see there on the charts. If we scroll down to the charts, we can see that we overfly Newcastle Airport at 3,500 feet, and then we fly that heading of 259 degrees for category C or D aircraft, and we then have to start descent down to 2,200 feet by the time that we turned around for our final approach, where we're going to then intercept the ILS for runway 07. And you can see there a heading of 066 degrees for the approach. If we have to go around for any reason, as always, we climb straight ahead to that Newcastle MDB, and then we hold at 2,500 feet, or as directed. So that basically means there that we fly straight on, and then we fly that circular hold pattern, focusing on that NDB the whole time, pending any instruction from ATC. And let's climb straight ahead to 2,000, turn right to NDB, we'll climb 2,500 as directed. So lots of information, but it's very similar to Leeds Bradford Airport. And you can see their aircraft category A, B, C, D. We're going to fall into C today, and we'll have that category 2 ILS approach. So we have a decision height, either an MDA of 357 feet or a decision height of 94 feet. So in our approach bit, we'd type in, for example, either 94 into the DH or 357 into that MDA box. I can go ahead actually and put in the METAR data as well while we have it. So it's 300 at 6 knots, QNH of 997 hectopascals, temperature of 6 degrees, and a transition altitude which will be on the charts, so showing 6,000 feet on the charts. There we go, we've got our approach speeds there of 127, so that shows that we're going to be a category C aircraft for the approach. For you guys, there we go, so I've put all that data in from the METAR. We've got that decision height of 94, or we put the other value into MDA, and we've got our approach speed there, which tells us what category aircraft we fall into. So that's all of the bits input ready. I'm not sure if... Let's have a look at some ATIS information. 1271. So we're not actually, I don't think we're going to touch London Centre's airspace today for the central area, who is online at the moment. So we're pretty much going to be on all of this. Exility, sorry, I've just catching up on the live chat. Where it says GPS primary lost, you need to make sure you've aligned your IRS, which are the 3 knobs at the top here. Make sure they're all on nav. And once the IRS is aligned, you still might get the GPS primary and the warning on the MCDU scratch pad. Just press clear. Tan, nice, honeycomb, fantastic yoke apparently as well. Yeah, definitely join the group flight with that. That would be fantastic. Especially if you're in like a Cessna Grand Caravan or something like that, it'd be perfect. Ian, yeah, thank you for explaining that. William, nice. Alaska was quite nice. I keep meaning to sort of finish some more legs with that actually. But I've sort of I'm filling the time with some of these instead. Edinburgh needs to be done very rapidly. I would love Mako Simulations to do it, but then I know there's a guy that's building Freeware, a Freeware version of Edinburgh at the moment, which is really good by the looks of it, or at least from the reviews and some of the pictures. And it's a work in progress. So from what I understand, he's learning how to sort of use Blender and build the scenery as he goes. So over time, with that being a work in progress, hopefully that'll be a really good airport to fly out of, especially as it's quite a key one for VATSIM. And yeah, some of the UK 2000 sceneries, either ports from P3D or straight ports from FSX, with some of the textures updated and amended, which is not really on if it's a quick job and they're still charging a lot of money for it. They should really bring their prices in line with the new players like Mako, who's charging $7.99 for Manchester, and it's 3-4 times the size of Bristol, and Bristol's twice the price. Those of you new to the channel, make sure you join us on Discord and tune in for tomorrow's group flight, and if you can, make sure you take part as well. That'd be quite cool, celebrating 500 subscribers, although we've since blown past that. We're on our way to 600 now, which is quite cool. So thank you everybody for tuning in so much and subscribing, etc. Just trying to work out roughly in my head where we are going to be. Yeah, in human reactions, I was having a look at, I think was it VATSIM the other day, one of the forums anyway, and they were getting absolutely slated for what they were charging. Now that Manchester Airport and that Mako Sim has come onto the scene, there's quite a few people that are kicking off saying that what they're charging is just not acceptable. I feel like potentially they're stuck in the past a little bit, which is a shame. Because the scenery is fantastic, but they need to bring their price in line with reality, really, especially if it's a port. So we're getting close to Manchester. Let's just review the pole chart for the arrival. Pole Hill, and then Urquhart at flight level 160. So we'll descend at Pol down to 160 by Urquhart. It's a 30-mile journey. So we've got 60 miles or so to go, and then we'll be making our way in via that departure, via that arrival. Now, one thing I wanted to actually mention as well is, now that we know that we are... Hello, Explain, nice to see you, welcome. Nice to see you tuning in on the stream. So one thing I wanted to sort of make sure that we've got in place for our arrival on the RadNav page would be the ILS frequency. And as we can see, because we've added a custom scenery, we've actually got the bug where it hasn't gone in correctly. So we need to go ahead and put in the ILS frequency for Newcastle runway 07, which is 111.5. But additional to that, we've also got the NDB to think about, which is NT352 on the charts. So you're probably thinking, well, how do we do that? As we did for the Leeds Bradford video, we just type 352 and then we put it into that ADF1. And we can actually go ahead if we want to and put the Newcastle VOR 11425. So now we've got all three options. So we've got the ILS tuned in, we've got that VOR, Newcastle VOR, and we've then got the Newcastle NDB as well, which we can see is starting to pick up. When it's flashing, it's because it's reading it. And if we go on to ADF, that should start to flash when it tracks. We would be able to pick that up on, is it VOR, I think it is. When we start to pick it up, I'll show you guys how all of that starts to read on the aircraft. I'm looking forward to the group flight tomorrow. Hopefully we get loads of people tuning in, and I'm going to live stream the whole thing as well. So it'd be interesting to see if this actually, if the ILS works for this. And apparently my mate's leapfrogged us, so he's actually ahead. And I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure how he's done it, but he's ahead somehow. Can't see him though. I'll just quickly check vPilot to see what we've got. Just make sure their Newcastle Tower or anyone like that hasn't come online already. Ooh, VATGov 5's on. We're on our best behaviour. So apparently my mate is at Barton, which is 10 miles ahead. So he's somewhere here, but he's at flight level 340. Not quite sure why he's so high. Anyway, we can't see him yet. We're poodling along at flight level 230. So we're almost at pole, 30 miles to go. And then we'll initiate our descent down to
Manchester Centre area traffic. This is EG 570 starting descent into Newcastle from flight level 340.
we're going to start to work our descent down on that pole 1 November arrival. Hitting pole at heading of 021 degrees, and then we've got a 25-mile track to Gokov, heading of 012 from there. 16 miles to Urkel, where we have to be at flight level 160. And then from there we'll be continuing a descent all the way along that star down to the initial approach fix over Newcastle, where we overfly the NDB at 3,500 feet.
219, turning left, heading 100 degrees, to establish ILS 05 left, Taipei 350.
Very good question in human reactions. I'm not sure actually what my answer would be to that. For complete Payware, I admit I haven't actually got any except for London City, which isn't that great. So I'd love to. I'm going to put some money together to try and purchase a few more. So I'd love to know what the best ones would be. I have heard Florence is exceptionally good. Although I've noticed that Orbx Malmo looks really nice, so I'm tempted to purchase Malmo. But if it's for general hopes of how it's going to be in the future, then it's all day long it'd be Manchester for a Payware Airport, because not only the price being so good, but the fact that the developer's updating it so frequently as well. So with the A32NX mod, if you guys weren't sure how it all works, by this point now, with our distance to Newcastle, we would have had a message in orange come up at the bottom of the scratch pad saying enter destination information.
219, establish ILS 05 left 11 miles.
What was that course for the ILS? It was 066, wasn't it? And I don't think this is going to let us put it in. No, but no bother. We'll just see how it tracks, and if it goes wrong we'll have to fly it visually. It's all cleared up all of a sudden. Have we should be flying over Manchester. Somebody always comes to the door just as I'm about to start a descent. Right, I'm back. Legging it to the front door. Let's start a slow descent down to flight level 160. And Newcastle traffic, EZ257 is passing Pole Hill, descending through flight level 230 for flight level 160. On a Pole 1 November arrival. Oh, out of breath. Yeah, I must admit, Ian, I've been out of the flight sim loop for probably about 10-15 years, and just not had the chance to catch up with it all. I'm trying to sort of get my head around all these new developers and get my head around all of the things that are new with the sim. But it's very easy with everything being released so much and so quickly, especially a lot of these freeware sceneries. It's very easy to lose track of it all, really.
Land traffic, takeoff A219, 4 miles, ILS 05 left landing.
So let's see if we can start to pick up that NDB. Not yet. We'll start to see a green flashing arrow on the display when it starts to pick up. Florence is meant to be very good. I've got quite a limited budget, so I'll try not to splash out on loads of scenery. I'd love them all, but I have to be conscious that I need to use the cash for what I can, what I really want, really. The biggest thing that I'm sort of saving up for at the moment is those Quality Wings 787 aircraft that are due to be released. That's going to be incredible, especially because I feel a little ripped off with the state of the default 787 in the sim, because it's unflyable. Oh, that's good. Constraints at Urquhart are already in. That's fantastic. And flight level 120. 9,000 at ETSES. Oh, look at that. And then that NDB at 3,000. So the NDB is a little off. It should be 3,500. But the rest of it is bang on the money. I wonder if we put it into this. So let's do 150. We'll just see. We'll see what we get. I'm testing a constraints thing that's been merged into the master as well, actually, which I tested when it was first developed for the fly-by-wire mod. You can see now on the nav display as well, NT flashing. That's that NDB station. So we can go ahead, if we select nav, There we go. We can see that green arrow flashing. Let's turn constraints off so we can see it a bit better. So that's telling us a track to that NDB station, which is quite cool. And there's that decel point that we want to see as well. So realistically, we want Aircore flight level 160. We want to. We should level off at 160 until we pass that waypoint effectively. With the way that constraints and stuff are built in now. Let's go ahead and put the seatbelt sign on. And with that Luke Air tool, we'll go ahead and press the descent announcement.
You will shortly be landing. Please ensure your cabin bag is safely stowed with your laptop inside. Your tray tables must be stowed, armrests down, and window blinds open.
Even Heathrow is poor for a handmade airport. All the stands are listed as general aviation parking, and it's all a total mess really. I'd have rather have just got a default one and had Freeware build on it. Probably Frankfurt's been the most impressive one that I've been able to use. I mean, Heathrow does look nice though, don't get me wrong. But for handmade, I expected a bit more. The A380, when fly-by-wire get around to creating that, that's going to be exceptional. I'll probably be in that all the time. But if an A350 comes along, then I'll be living in that. I'll be doing loads of flights in that. I'm toying with the idea at the moment of buying the Aerosoft CRJ regional jets, but it's not really a thing that I like. But for a lack of any other aircraft in the sim, well, that's interesting. Then the constraints didn't level us off there. Oh well. So the way the constraints work with what's been added into the mod now is we should have leveled off at flight level 160. Which is odd. The one thing at Heathrow as well I've noticed is about 10 years ago they were doing building works on taxiway Alpha, and they still use, and this really annoys me, they've obviously got the satellite data from back then, because there's a strip on taxiway Alpha on the northern side of the airport that has no...
Overhead Gurley, turning a left heading 350.
What was I saying? Yeah, on the north side there's a strip on taxiway Alpha where there's no centerline at all on the taxiway, so it's like they've just drawn it in as an extra because it was missing, and that was being repaired about 10 years ago, so I don't know what they're playing at, but they should have at least gone to the effort of drawing the yellow line on that part of the taxiway. Oh, good grief, look at these grainy clouds. What the hell is this? Does anybody know how to change the... there was an option, wasn't it? I think I remember seeing where you can turn the sharpness down. This is terrible, but I've just updated the NVIDIA driver, so I wonder if it's linked to that, because I've never seen clouds in my sim look like that before. Just blocks of pixels. It's terrible. Oh, hello. Bit of turbulence. So we're going to be overflying Newcastle on that NDB, and then we're going to be turning round on ourselves. Yeah, to be honest, William, I wish I bought the standard version. There's very little that that I think is worth it with Premium Deluxe, if I'm honest. So we do NDB, flying over NT and then it's left 259 degrees. What we could do actually as well, we've got the VOR in, we could program that from the charts, so we fly that from the Newcastle DME 9.2. We could actually go ahead and fly to that. So we could flick it over. So we can pass that NDB station, which is Newcastle's directly ahead now, just off there somewhere on our 12 o'clock. And we can then flick across to the VOR, which will be that option, and we can track a distance, and when we get to 9.2 miles then we start our turn for finals. So we track that NDB. Basically every second it sends a signal out to the aircraft that the aircraft picks up because we've got it tuned in, and that's how we track our position relative to that. Once we cross over the NDB, that arrow will switch around to the other side to show that we've overflown it, and by that point we'll be turning to head for category C, 259 degrees. Now, yeah, Artful Plonker, I hope it goes well. I know the runway at Newcastle is 300 metres longer than the one at Bristol. Although it's a brand new airport that I've not flown into yet, so we'll see how it goes. Once we've landed, we'll be taxiing back down the Delta taxiway all the way to the terminal building. Having a look on the approach plates, I can't see any hazards or concerns or issues that we have to be aware of from the charts. Having a quick look again just to be sure. Yeah, max 185 knots for the DME turn, the procedure. And then if we have to hold for the go around, there's a max of 210 knots. We see it in the distance yet? Can't quite. It's over there somewhere. Let's see, parking docking stands. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Freeware scenery is going to be like. It had some very, very good reviews on flightsim.to, so Adelaide, I've not done that yet. I've done Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, Melbourne, but I've not done Adelaide actually. So maybe that'll be added to the list. Maybe if I end up getting the this Aerosoft CRJ, I could do a Qantas link trip, Adelaide to somewhere else. Going to commit down below 10,000, so let's turn the landing lights on. And I wonder if we've got icing on the aircraft. We haven't got nose pitching up, so we're looking okay. And you can see all this terrain that was on the charts that we have to be mindful of, and off in the distance, which is where on the approach plates shows all the mountainous terrain. We need to be careful of that as we make our way in as well. So after Etsus, the next waypoint was that the NDB overflying Newcastle. So we'll just continue our descent down to 3,500, wasn't it, on the charts? Newcastle traffic easy 257, passing Etsus, descending through 9,000, inbound the November Tango NDB for ILS 07. I'll just check the METARs again. EGNT. 350 at 6 knots. That's changed somewhat. A few clouds, 2,500 feet cumulonimbus, a few clouds at 4,000 feet, temperature of 5 degrees now, so we've dropped slightly, and the QNH is still 997, which is all good. We can go ahead, 997. What I like to do during a descent is just get that ready, so when we hit our transition altitude we can flick it back and be on the local QNH. And I'll just quickly check. Yeah. I feel like my mate's already like on his final approach.
Newcastle traffic,
Oh.
station calling, readability 1.
Maybe not. Wonder where Graham is at the moment, because I can't quite see him. So we go auto brake low. We'll activate approach phase.
Station calling, Newcastle traffic, readability is still 1. Volume is very low.
So we've got Newcastle just ahead. We've got the airport in 12 miles now, so we should start to be able to see it. In fact, that looks like it there. There's Newcastle Airport. So you can see actually.
Newcastle traffic, this is EC570, lining up for runway 07 to land.
So we go manual heading select now because we're not really tracking that.
Newcastle traffic, EZ64 Tango, we're just taxiing up to the hold point for runway 25. If you're landing on runway 07, are you planning on using the rapid exit?
I don't know why he's using 25. Let's have a little look.
EC570, current active is runway 07 based on the wind. However, we'll try and use taxiway Charlie to allow
Just doing some quick
through
work
to
now.
runway 25.
It's at bang on crosswind.
Newcastle traffic, that's fine. We're just going to go to the hold point and I'll go into the left-hand side of the hold point at the top of 25, just in case you come all the way there.
Fantastic, thank you, EZ570.
Lovely. So it's bang on crosswind, we'll just stick with 07. And it's quite late to change now, so we'll, although we could if we need to. So basically on the ATC at the moment, William, one guy is landing 07, which is what we've got planned for, and somebody else is departing on runway 25. It's a bang on crosswind, so it's pretty much a 50-50 between the two. There's no ATC at the moment, so we're sort of left to our own devices to make it all, like, to work it out amongst ourselves. But on VATSIM, the communication's sort of relevant, really. Cool, let's start to turn towards that NDB now, guys. So we're tracking our heading relevant to that green flashing arrow. We've got Newcastle Airport, we'll be off on a, in fact there it is, just off in the distance. So we're tracking the NDB, which is over here somewhere. And then we're going to turn and fly back on ourselves.
EZ64 Tango, Newcastle traffic, currently holding Delta 2.
We can see that EasyJet flight that's holding at Delta 2 down there, actually. Look, and there's the other guy landing. Check that out.
Newcastle traffic from
Sweet. That's awesome.
EZ64 Tango. Could you report when you've cleared runway 07?
So I'm using making use of speed brake.
EC570 is vacating onto taxiway Charlie.
And we'll start to turn now, 259 degrees.
Yeah, thank you for that.
There's those guys.
There is another EasyJet in the area approaching runway 07, but he hasn't called final yet, so I think you're clear for departure.
Roger, thank you for that.
Yeah, easy 257, just overflowing the November Tango NDB, routing round, heading 259 degrees.
Yeah, Roger. We'll be okay to depart on 25 for the time being.
A firm, yep. I'll slow right down for you.
Thank you very much, and I'll keep an eye out for you. Thank you.
So it starts to descend down to
Traffic,
2,500.
Papa Golf is push and start straight back on stand on seat.
Newcastle's getting busy then. There's that BA aircraft, there's an EasyJet. There's obviously one departing and somebody on the way in as well. That's quite frustrating. Successfully connected. That's such an annoying bug. What we can do now is go onto the LS and we can track that VOR. So we flick across and we're just tracking our distance. And we wanted, as per the charts, it was distance from the Newcastle VOR of 9.2. Then we head back left 066 degrees. Let's go spoiler's arm. We could do cabin secure. And ideally we're just sort of looking out to see if we can see that EasyJet flight departing. We don't want to be in conflict with them. And hopefully they will call up and let us know. We'll call up as well, just say we're turning base. Still can't see the guy. Oh yeah, thank you. I was getting distracted by all of the scenery and all of the stuff going on. Cheers. And there we go. I was getting distracted by all the stuff going on below with the views overflying the airport. Whoopsie. .2 miles from the DME, from the VOR now. When we get to, it's 9.2 miles, then we'll turn left. Newcastle traffic easy 257, just about to turn left base runway 07.
Easy 570 is parking up at gate 5.
Zero 66 degrees is what we want. There we go, and that's our runway heading. We can just monitor that turn. We can see that EasyJet flight that's departed there, so we know he's nice and clear. And we are at 2,500, as the charts told us to be, ready to intercept that glide slope from below. So all we need is... I've noticed today, it's very odd actually, we're struggling to hold altitudes in turns, similar to what happens with the Dreamliner and all the rest of it. So I'm not sure what is going on with that. But that's something to watch out for, because you can see there we've just lost 400 foot on a turn. So for some reason the autopilot is starting to become unable to actually fly and hold its altitude. Go flaps 3.
Newcastle traffic, easy 34 Papa Golf is taxi Alpha.
There's the runway ahead. Let's go gear down. We're now on the glide slope and we'll go full flaps. And Newcastle traffic easy 257, 6 mile finals, runway 07. So in case of missed approach, we want that altitude set, I think it was 3,500 from looking at the charts a minute ago. Hold at 2,500, so we were good as we were. We're probably going to vacate at Charlie down the very bottom end. And the aircraft's doing okay actually on this final approach. Graham Steady was at stand 5 I think, so a quick look there, he's Delta, then onto Alpha, round onto 5, lovely. We'll probably depart on runway 25 on the way out, if everyone else is doing that as well. So we're slightly to the left of that track line for the ILS again for some reason. It's a really annoying issue with Microsoft Flight Simulator, so I have control and I'll fly it manually for the remainder, and we'll just check we've got our correct heading set in case we have to go around, and when we activate that autopilot we want to make sure we've got that correct heading set for us. Try and control that descent as well so we don't lose too much altitude. Nice rate of descent there, about 600 foot per minute. And we've got a landing inhibit. There's an EasyJet aircraft that's taxiing to runway.
Newcastle traffic, easy 34 Papa Golf, holding at Alpha 107.
Lovely. So I've announced that we're on finals. He knows that we're on our way in. He should be able to see us now as well. So he's holding for us. So if there's no ATC, still announce what you're doing to all the other aircraft on Unicom. That crosswind is keeping it interesting, and to make slight adjustments all the time to try and keep us on that centre line. There's Graham there on that stand 5 on the left hand side at the terminal. We're approaching minimums. Over the motorway. Interesting, no minimums call out.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
And down.
Newcastle traffic, easy 34 Papa Golf, sliding up 07.
Slow down for the turn. And Newcastle traffic easy 257 vacating 07 at Charlie, taxiing to stand 6. Bring that speed down a bit more. Bring the flaps in. Start the autopilot. What about APU?
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties. However, we ask...
Newcastle traffic, easy 34 Papa Golf,
Cheers.
07. Have a good afternoon all.
Portable
Likewise.
electronic devices for messaging, calls or internet access may now be used. Please make sure that you take all your personal belongings with you. Definitely in the
This is
seat
actually
pocket
quite busy for Newcastle then.
and in the overhead lockers. Do take care when opening the lockers in case anything falls out. Smoking is not permitted until you reach a designated
Let's put
smoking
that back on plan mode.
On behalf of the captain and the crew, it has been our pleasure looking after you today. Our ground crew will help you complete your EasyJet journey. For the latest news, promotions,
So goes that EasyJet chat.
check out our official Facebook page, Twitter, or EasyJet app.
So we're going to go past BA aircraft there, which looks like it's going to head back to London Heathrow, and then we're going to park up next to the other EasyJet flight dead ahead. We'll then program the MCDU for the route home, back to Bristol. Now if we get Bristol landing on runway 09 as we departed, there's actually a warning on the charts. There's a false glide slope for that runway, so if we trigger that for any reason, then we could end up having all sorts of problems on the final approach. So there's things to look out for on that way home. So I'm interested if you guys in the chat have actually got the Orbx Payware scenery for Newcastle. I'm interested to find out what your thoughts are now you're seeing this for the first time, as I am for the very first time seeing the Newcastle scenery. I mean, I'm not sure I would pay lots of money for a tiny terminal building, to be honest. If it's just, I mean, it's literally just this as an airport, I'm not sure if I'd pay £15 for it. Especially when you can get an entire Manchester airport for £8. What did I say we were going to park on? Said stand 6, didn't I? He's at stand 4, not 5. 5's there. But I'll park at stand 6 like I've said. Hope you bleed. I mean, now we're getting up close. I don't think the photogrammetry looks that great. I tend to actively avoid all of these Google encoder photogrammetry airports because I don't think they're that great. And I didn't realise this was one of them. But that is pretty hideous ahead of us. What even is that? It's not even a building. It's a mess. Or instead of this is stand 7 for some reason. Hey ho. I mean, from a distance, the terminal looks nice, but this here is it just, oh, that is horrible. Okay. Orbx wins. Engine 2 off, let's kill engine 1. That's annoying, that hasn't happened for a while. No, it's not the nicest looking at all, is it? I mean, I get if it's the first time you're creating a scenery, I understand, but come on. You just wouldn't release it, would you? So just going to calculate the route back. In the meantime, I'm going to see if I've managed to trigger these, but I'm trying to trigger some steps to spawn. We're not having any joy with that. Let's trigger air bridge. No, nothing. So we can't get steps. We can request the fuel truck. We can request baggage, power, and catering. So let's go ahead and trigger those pre-flight events. Let's have a little look at our way home, shall we? So you can see the aircraft sort of reset itself there, and all we got to do is go to init A again. It's blanked itself off, and we want to go Echo Golf November Tango 2 Echo Golf Golf. It's EGGD, yeah, Echo Golf Golf Delta for Bristol. We have no company route, so we hit return, and we'll go flight level 240 for the way home. What's our call sign? Our call sign for the way home is going to be the EGGD2569. So we actually have to disconnect from vPilot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Disconnect from vPilot and then reconnect 2569. Connect back in. Yeah, simulation gaming. Yeah, you did tell me. I wasn't aware that this was a photogrammetry job. I mean, I wouldn't have I just wouldn't have bothered. Matthew, hello, welcome. Just joining us, landing at Newcastle, and we're just turning around to head back to Bristol. Alternative, we'll go EGFF, which is Cardiff. And the flight plan will depart runway 07 again, and that Gurley 1 Tango departure, which is the only one. So we'll click that, see what that looks like. I don't think there's anything wrong with vPilot currently. I know they've just updated the software though. We can turn that VOR off as well actually. I'm not sure why that's triggered on. So let's see. It's from Gurley, we want to go into there and we want a Papa 18 airway to Tilney. Let me just put this into sim brief properly. So we want Echo Golf November Tango to EGGD, EGFF for diversion. 2569 is our flight number. Cool. So what we do is I'm just going to have a look on Eurocontrol to make sure that it's a valid route to the latest AirACs that have just been updated. So you can go onto their website, go to free text editor and paste it in to validate the route, and that shows no errors. So we go ahead and type in Papa 18 airway to Gasco. Then the Papa 16 to Ribel. Uniform Papa 16 to Knockin. November 862 to Retzi. So that should be all of that put in. There's our decel point again, a new thing that we've added in. And then we should have the Bristol 1 Alpha. So just have a little look, see what's gone into the flight plan so far. Retzi's all the way up there, and then we want that Bristol 1 Alpha. So arrival. We are planning for ILS 09, so we have to be careful of that potential issue with what is going on with that flight plan there, guys. Okay, there we go, that's better. But we have to be careful of that false glide slope that's on the chart, so, and I'll show you guys when we're en route. That's all in there. So now we've redone our flight plan, we can go through performance. We've got init B. We probably want the same as we've got there, but it's not going to let us do a new fuel prediction. But it's going to show there we're going to land with 0.3, so 300 kilos on board. So we're going to want more fuel. go back to 19% on the tanks, and that looks a bit better. We could probably get away with flaps 1 on the takeoff again today for this slightly longer runway, and we can go ahead and recycle those V speeds. Oh god, that's hideous. Oh dear. Let's go ahead and reset the autopilot. Make sure that's good, and we can disarm the auto throttle. That should activate again when we go to flex. And we also need to put into vPilot our route for the return. Because we've just flown the outbound on vPilot, you can just hit a swap button, put in your new alternative airport and the new times of departure, and we can just go ahead and paste that new route in there. File the flight plan, fetch the new one from the server, and girly 1 Tango departure. Yep, so it's not an issue with vPilot or anything like that, but it's an issue with SimBrief. Basically, on SimBrief now, I'll show you, Matthew. You want to generate your route, but then you need to go via like one of the options there, like validation, and follow the instructions on that tab, because you have to validate your route. Basically, as you can see there, it's valid for AIRAC 1903, which was from March 2019, and the AIRACs have been updated lots since. So the only way to do that is to go into here, and you have to unlock AIRAC 2013, which actually requires you to pay for Navigraph. The cheapest one is £30. You can go ahead and press that, and that will update all of your AIRACs so that you get valid routes on SimBrief for you to use. That's basically the only way you could do it, really. If you find one that's not valid, then I click there onto Sky Vector and I zoom about. So for our outbound route, for example, if this was an invalid route, I would look for another airway like UP16 there with the arrow, and I would look to join an airway that's in the direction of our travel, and I then manually build a route using that. And you can see there, guys, we're going to depart, head over Liverpool, between Liverpool and Manchester, pretty much overflying Liverpool Airport almost, and then we're going to head down past RAF Shawbury, and then down across Avonmouth over into Bristol. And there's our route there for you guys. I'll just text Graham, let him know that we're all good, ready to go. Navigraph apparently is very, very worth it. Everybody says it's particularly good. It's not really. I'm not really gonna. It's a hard one. For me, I probably would pay the £30 for it if I was struggling to get workarounds for the flight plan and all the rest of it. But it's working okay, so at least with the workarounds that I've got. I'm not going to bother with the Luke Air tool on the way out, on the way back to Bristol. But before we push back, I just want to make sure we've got all of our charts ready for Bristol Airport. Those of you new to the channel, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons and join our Discord. The bot pops up every now and again with information for the Discord server, and make sure you join us tomorrow for our group flight as well, which is going to be on the Microsoft Flight Simulator multiplayer server. Star, we want Bristol 1 Alpha via VATSIM, and then approach charts runway 09 ILS. and then we've got our ground charts as well. So let's see, Bristol, then the grounds. Lovely stuff. Okay, we are ready to go. Just make sure I've got everything in the aircraft ready as best as I can. We're still on 2200 for that because we've had no ATC covering us yet, unfortunately, and we've recycled our V-speeds as well. What we can do is just check the very latest METAR.
Newcastle traffic, this is EZ567 at gate 5, push and start to face east.
Performance. What did that say? 320. We're going to have to possibly change our runway. Favouring 27, I think now, isn't it? So, just going to go on to sim brief again very quickly. That's such a hideous thing there. Graham's sim has crashed a desktop, so he's just booting back in again. And so I don't have to stare at that hideous building. I'm going to do that while I look at fixing our sim brief departure for runway 25. Yeah, wind's 320 at 5, so it's favouring runway 25 now. So we want that girl 3 X-ray departure. The rest of it's the same. Girl 3 X-ray. And you can see there's not much difference, it just takes us off to Gurley a different way. That's all good for us, so we'll just go ahead and just insert that, and everything else should stay the same. But being Microsoft Flight Simulator, I'd just like to go through and check anyway. I just realised I'm not in plan mode. There's Gurley. Nenvo, then Terezzi, and then we want Amral, yeah, good, Dobum, Inga, and then that Bristol arrival. Again, it's a VOR over the airfield, or an MDB over the airfield, so what we will likely do is we get to Inga, we might vector ourselves in this time, we fly down Avonmouth and then round for a straight in. Basically we'll arrive using a base leg. And you can see there the RadNav page hasn't changed, but I just need to check with the Bristol charts to make sure that we've got the correct frequency, which is 11015. So that one's gone in. We want to clear that ADF as well. We can just type in the Bristol NDB, which is 414. We can just go ahead and maybe clear. Should be able to clear this. Awesome. All that looks good. I haven't bothered really changing the flex to temp or anything again. Good luck, William. Check back in a bit later. It's another short 40-50 minute journey back. I'm not sure who that is. (19 and 19). 3279. It's annoying that we don't have any steps. That's quite disappointing. Have a tab for planes in flight sim. Not sure actually, to be honest. I know the new CRJ is there's a lot of hype about that actually at the moment, probably because it's the only workable airliner in the sim, apart from this fly-by-wire A32NX. So I'd imagine that we would get that'd be very, very popular. So I'm personally toying with the idea of purchasing that myself. What's going to be quite good, there's a PR at the moment in place. This guy's not even talking on Unicom or anything. There's a PR in place at the moment which isn't ready for testing just yet, so, which is why I'm not using it. But they've redone all of the lights on the aircraft, so we get really big, bright, bold nav lights, landing lights, and all the rest of it. So that's going to be really cool when that comes in. Is that our beacon on? Yeah, it is. Wonder how long he's going to take, because it'll be good if we push back with him. That'll be quite cool. And then when Graham pops back in, he's spawning in again right now. Hopefully we get all three going off at the same time, which would be sweet. What's that? Gurley 3 X-ray departure. I can show you guys the routes that we are generated via SimBrief. So that's what we've put in. It's the Gurley 3 X-ray departure now. And you can see if you scroll down on the map, you can see our rough route there. So we're heading west out of Newcastle, then south towards Stanhope Crook. Past all these little areas that we never really hear about or know about. So we're passing with Bradford off on our left hand side, flying over Blackburn and Bolton, Wigan, straight over Warrington, then we've got Chester, Liverpool, Manchester either side of us on the way in, and then around Wrexham, Oswestry, Market Drayton. That's in fact we can see RAF Shawbury here on the map, which is that little blip there, the two big runways. And we keep going down then. We're basically hugging the border between England and Wales most of the way down. And then when we reach Abergavenny, we'll probably at that point head past Inga, and that Inga will probably then come down towards maybe Cardiff, and then vector ourselves in over the channel instead. And then inbound Bristol on the runway 09. So we'll be landing facing over Weston-super-Mare, Clevedon, turning in, and then landing on 09. SimBrief can generate a lot of information, so if I generate this flight plan for you guys to see, it gives you like a rough cruise level and a few other bits. The cruise is incorrect, so it should have an even for the direction of travel for us. And if we scroll down, we get our online flight plan generated. So you get loads of information like the aircraft, maximum takeoff weight, and things like that. It gives you random step flight levels and our planned fuel for the trip as well. But SimBrief is very off actually. So it's telling us to use 4,324 kilos of fuel. But our fuel prediction on the aircraft shows that we only need 3.2 tons, or 3,200 tons of kilograms of fuel. So it's one of those where I tend to take whatever SimBrief says with a pinch of salt now, to be honest. Yeah, the heat blur. I was actually looking at testing that today, to be honest, and from what I gather, does it just eliminate it on the ground? Not on the ground, it eliminates it in the air, doesn't it? But it keeps it on the ground, is that correct? .240, good. Okay, cool. Let's... so that BA is pushing back. So the METAR suggests that we should be using runway 25, so hopefully he pushes back and faces down towards Delta. But a lot of people tend to just go for the easy option and because the threshold is right there, he might just taxi there and take off on 07. In theory, really, he should be taxiing down there and taking off into wind. So we're about to push back ourselves, but we will see which way he faces. I would imagine he's going to take off on 07 because he would have already started turning otherwise. So we're going to have to hold on stand to find out what he's doing. But we are ready to go now. Let's have a quick look. So runway 25. Newcastle ground easy 2569er has stand 7 push start for runway 25. Now, I'm just seeing if we can push back without causing an issue for him. Realistically, I've got a good feeling that he's going to taxi to 07, so I want to push back now, but then I don't want to block him off. His position there suggests that he's going to go towards 07 rather than 25, so otherwise he'd have pushed back further.
Station transmitting on Unicom is unreadable, and also EG567 is push and start from stand 5 at Newcastle.
I'm just sending a message to that BA pilot to ask him what runway he's on, because I just said I don't want to push back and block him inadvertently. So yeah, he's on. Oh, perfect, lovely. So let's push.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback.
He's
and
pushing as
engine
well.
Start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back.
Oh dear, my sim's crashed. Wow. Good grief. You know what? The sim has never been so unstable. From the last patch. Yeah, this is annoying. From the very last patch, we oh dear, what can I say? It's just never been so unstable. Oh dear. There's nothing more annoying than having to start again. Either way, I don't like that Newcastle scenery. That's pretty awful. Although, if it meant no crash to desktop, then I would settle for that scenery. Oh dear. Things were going so well. bear with us. We'll be back very shortly. It was literally the second I pushed back, which happened to me a while ago. So this has happened before, and it makes me think that there's an instability written into Microsoft Flight Simulator now, whereby if you're going to fly a back-to-back return journey, that second leg is pretty much going to guarantee a crash to desktop by the looks of it. I'm not sure if anyone else has had any of those issues. If you have, let me know in the comments. But there's nothing more annoying. It's really annoying when you're trying to track it for a virtual airline as well, because the software then wonders what's gone on. See, I wonder as well, normally it loads up quite quickly for me, and I wonder if this is linked to the photogrammetry at Newcastle being put in as well, because I know the photogrammetry from Google Maps related things, I know that they can cause issues with loading times. Where's Newcastle? Oh, there it is, dear me. Zoomy zoom, and let's see, gate 7 departure. Let's reset the live times, and I'll make sure our weight and balance is the same, because that way I could just throw all the data in. That was set to 4. That was set to 4. Cool, let's go. Yeah, so Matthew, that's apparently to do with issues with the rolling cache, from what I've read. So I think you have to expand the rolling cache. Annoyingly as well, vPilot then crashes out on you as well, because if your sim crashes, vPilot just exits. So we just need to log back into vPilot. But that's no issue. I've just done that now. I'm on the Gurley 3 X-ray departure now for runway 25, so I'll refile a new flight plan and then fetch that new one from the server. There's us. Graham's still waiting. That BA guy's gone. How annoying. Let's see. External. Let's see how quickly I can get this set up then. Let's go, douche, 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 douche. Pop those on. I wonder as well, it's because there was 2 tugs. I wonder if they were both trying to compete with one another. Because there was 2 tugs when we pulled up onto the stand, bizarrely enough. One was already there and the other one spawned as we parked. So. GPS primary lost, performance, so we want init EGNT / EGGD, in we go, easy, 2569, flight number, Cardiff, 240 was our cruise. So this is how you can do it quickly, or at least try to. It was 25 departure, Gurley 3 X-ray, temporary flight plan. Where's our sim brief tab? Smash all this in as quick as I can for you guys. Thanks for staying, bearing with me. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to live stream with a broken simulator. Papa 18 from Gurley to Gasco. I think Graham's watching as well, so thank you for waiting. Appreciate you holding on. Rebel. then UP16 to knock in November 862 to VATSIM. You can hear that APU spooling up. GPS, that's the IRS aligned. I've got it set to fast, so that's why that's kicked in so quick. VATSIM, and then it was arrival, expecting 09 and Bristol 1 Alpha. Let's just insert that. That's all good. I haven't bothered with the Bristol bit yet. We'll go for flaps 1, and it was right about there for flex. Go to init B, get our fuel prediction. Zero fuel weight set 53.54/22.68. Let's see what this tells us. It's 2.6 tons apparently, but we've got 3.2. So we'll just update that to show the correct figure for us. Cool, just like that, we are ready to go again. Hey Mariner. Oh, actually I know what I need to do. 122.8 for Unicom. Newcastle traffic, easy 2569, back again, radio check.
Loud and clear, easy 567.
G, do you want to go ahead taxi first? I'll push after you.
Sure, easy 567 is on the ground at Newcastle and taxiing on Bravo onto Alpha and Delta to the hold for runway 25.
9 at 8, wasn't it? That is fast. Pushback Express, we need that.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight.
Oh, fingers
We
crossed.
are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes.
Beacon
please.
on. We need the emergency standby instrument lights and things on. We've got crossfeed and ting. Let's power the FADEX. We'll let Graham push back. Look at that behind us. That's awesome. So
Easy 567 to easy 569. You're ready for, you can push the start now.
Brakes released.
Pushing back.
nice one there, and push start from stand 7 then to follow the company's jet to runway 25. So let's get engine 2 started. That's how you get set up nice and quick, guys. There we go, hopefully you weren't waiting too long. And yeah, it is raining, so I'll be getting those wipers on very shortly. Not sure what happened with all of that, crashed to desktop, but I'll be doing yet another Zendesk report again. APU bleed should be on. Then we can actually start the engines.
You are cleared for high-ning. Start your engines at your discretion.
Cool, well we've smashed through that. And we're all set ready to go again. We'll go flaps 1 for departure. We'll probably end up using the entire runway though. But we like a challenge. For sheer sense of speed. We will start engine 1, and there's that aircraft on finals there, Mag, whatever his name was. He's probably going to taxi off to conflict with us slightly, so going to consciously...
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Parking brake set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you on the left side with the pit.
Thanks, and you can disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
So let's go for park brake off, and we'll do engine 2, and we'll taxi with one engine because we can do that. Flaps 1. Is that aircraft coming in? I think if I had £1 for every time Microsoft Flight Simulator crashed for people, I would be a very, very rich man. Engine 1's kicked in and available now, so we can go ahead and bring that engine mode to norm. And I've idled engine 2 because we can taxi on idle. Crossfeed, bleed. Let's try and catch that guy's landing, shall we? Rock and roll. Let's do a little bit of thrust so we can poodle down to that end point, hold point quite quick. Newcastle traffic easy 2569, taxiing via Delta for runway 25. There's Graham off in the distance at the hold point. Let's do our take configuration checklist. Water brake to max. All cool. Cabin secure. We'll hurdle down here nice and quick, see if we can catch this guy's landing. £1 billion every time would be awesome. I would never have to work again. I'll turn wipers on shortly. It's not too bad at the moment. I'll turn it on for departure. I wonder what aircraft this is then, because he's had a really long final approach. It's going to be another A320neo, I'm sure.
Easy 567 is holding at Delta 1 once the aircraft on finals has passed from left to right. We'll line up runway.
Just a generic model, guys. So we'll hold that, and we'll get our wipers on. No, they don't really do anything. So, Graham's lining up and wait, pending that MAG call sign aircraft to vacate the runway, and tell us he's done so. Not quite sure where he's gone though. Newcastle traffic easy 2569 holding at Delta 1. You can see the wipers working there though. I think that guy's disappeared. I'm not sure where he's gone. I can't see him anymore.
Okay, so easy 567 departing on runway 25 out of Newcastle.
And Newcastle traffic EZ2569 will line up and wait and take off in turn number 2, runway 25. Bit of takeoff in turn lingo. Let's go all that on. Yeah, I'm not sure why. It's supposed to only stop a large amount of caps. So I'm not really sure why that's kicked in for 2 letters. The other bot was deactivated, so I'm not sure why that's come back on.
EG567 airborne.
Yeah, there is a weather radar. Just give him a minute. Weather radar's all here. We can flick that to 1. There we go. I'll flick it on after departure so it's sort of less distracting. So giving him a bit more time.
EG567 is turning on to the next waypoint, so you're clear to take off.
Cheers buddy, EZ2569 Newcastle traffic, departing runway 25 on a Gurley 3 X-ray departure. That's flex and thrust set. Turning into the sunset. 80 knots, relieve the pressure on the nose wheel. V1, rotate. Positive rate, go up. EZ2569 airborne out of Newcastle, passing 1,000. So we keep it in climb until we get a message pop up here, which you'll see in a second. There we go, leave a climb. So we then drop that throttle into the climb gate. In absence of any ATC as well, I'll just pop this back up straight up to cruise out. And that S speed there, we can bring our flaps to 1. And then clear the auto brake being armed. See all this rain built in around us, that's quite cool. Once our speed goes to above a certain, there we go, 200 and something knots, 220 knots, the wipers turn off. Let's go ahead and put the weather radar on for Matthew. And there it is, drawing into the sky for us. Just going to bring up a tab to try and help explain what that question relates to. Bear with me whilst watching where I'm flying. VPilot settings is the one I want. So I don't know if you can see that, hopefully you can. There we go, model matching, you want settings for simulator MSFS. Rescan is now disappeared, and it says aircraft model scan not applicable. So the latest VPilot, all of these features have been deactivated basically. Punching through the cloud, and we've got the Newcastle countryside all around us below. Bear with me, I just need to step away for a minute or two. The autopilot is fixed. Passing 10,000. Let's pop the landing lights off. Guys, I need to step away for about 5 minutes from the computer. I've got a last minute delivery, but I will be back very soon. Everything's happening all at once. Standard pressure. What is going on with that? There we go. Oh, hopefully that's not a fault that's come back then, Andrew. That'd be quite annoying if it is. Where are we? Okay, good. We've still got some way to go. Lovely. It's always annoying when you get some online shopping delivered all at the wrong time. Let's just get up to date with what I've left the aircraft at. That's good. All going wrong today then. It's basically that aircraft that landed in Newcastle. He, what it looks like, he completely fluffed the landing and bounced and then went off the end, so he just disconnected. Let's clear those Newcastle charts. So it's telling us we have to be at AMRAL at flight level 160 and relays at flight level 160. And then from there a fairly steep descent down to 3000. The ILS intercept to 2500. Let's probably check VPilot again. Cool. Let's get the latest METAR for Bristol. Wind 040 at 12 knots. So there we go. So we're getting close. So it's told us aircraft's shouting at us to enter destination information, and that message won't go away until we've completed everything it needs. So the QNH of 992, temperature of +5 degrees Celsius, wind 040 degrees at 12 knots. The transition altitude on the charts is 6,000. I'll try not to forget that this time. And the decision height. Bristol Airport's actually on a hill, so our decision height is 177 feet on the rad alt. But I could do altitude as well. So we can only input one or the other, so if we were going to input the other one, it would be on the charts 790, and decision height would then go blank. So we'll leave that on there today and see what happens. There's one flight level 160 target, and it's written into the constraints as well. So between Robver and Nenvo, those waypoints there will descend down to 160. And then we'll just continue down towards 3000. So all the information for the performance page. Good question. Basically, you just get the latest METAR. On VPilot, if you type in .METAR space EGGD for Bristol, hit enter, it will then give you the latest METAR. You just input all of that in to the arrival performance page. Ooh, that weather's changing randomly. So now we've got a 16 knot tailwind. It does work top down, and there's no centre. There's Scottish centre online at the moment, and then there's Lisbon centre, frustratingly. So even London centre's gone offline. Odd for the weekend, because normally there's full. There's always normally full coverage, so it is disappointing for a Saturday for us at the moment. So that looks like Liverpool Airport down below. That's going to be updated with the new UK World Update next month. Auto throttle's working fine for us, yeah. It has a few issues where it reads the constraints wrong. So down here, one of these will say 250 knot constraint, but after that it will then shoot itself back up to 290 knots, so that bit is faulty. But most of the aircraft works again, so it's not too bad. So we're getting close. Let me show you the charts. There's RETC at the very top of the screen there for that Bristol 1 Alpha arrival. And then we're going to head down 184 degrees down to Amaral and Riles at flight level 160. At Dobem we turn 166 degrees. We cross the SLP there, which are those diamonds. And it tells us on the charts somewhere down here, cross SLPs or 3 minutes before holding fixed 250 knots or less. And it says there descend below 160 after Riles, which is fine. So we'll descend down, we'll then vector ourselves in. So instead of entering the hold or overflying the Bristol NDB, we'll just vector in normally. There's the approach plates. So we're going to head in over Avonmouth, sort of where my cursor is now, with that beacon there of 338 feet. We'll vector ourselves down over the water and head in. There's a ILS frequency for us there, and we've got that heading of 087 degrees for the course for the runway. Category C again, so if we did overfly the NDB at Bristol, we would of course have to fly 284 degrees down to 8 miles out, then turn left on base. We overfly at 3,000 feet, but we look to be turning onto finals at 2,500 feet, which is only, as you can see there in the brackets, it's only 1,887 feet above the ground. Missed approach, it's climbed straight ahead to 3,000 then as directed. And there's our decision heights for the Category C aircraft. With some other information about alternative holding procedures and a few other bits. And then below Cap 1 minima, that's what I was saying earlier, there's a false glide path at Bristol for runway 09. So it says there, glide path anomalies may be observed. So if you capture it slightly wrong, it can give you a false glide slope and you descend incorrectly then. Which is a issue in real life for pilots flying in and out of the airfield. And real weather's playing up as well, so it's throwing us some odd weather at the moment. Let's go on our open descent now. We're at 35 miles, so we'll aim for flight level 160. If you put it into open descent like we've just done, the Airbus brings the throttles back, and then once it's at a thrust set, it will then start to descend. Or you could, as we did on the way out, we can intervene and set vertical speed mode. But there you go, this is open descent working as you'd expect it to. But then it puts us into the ever steep descent there, which is just outrageously steep. So we'll go ahead and select a slightly better reading. What are we doing? We're Bristol 1 Alpha, isn't it? Bristol traffic, EZ2569, descending through, flight level 220 for 160, passing Retzi for a Bristol 1 Alpha arrival, expecting ILS runway 09. That's the position on VATSIM, so everyone else knows what we're doing, where we are. So Graham is ahead of us, he's at Ritz at Rilez. So he's about 15 nautical miles ahead. We just level at 160 by AMRAL, so we're sticking to what we're told to on the charts. Every now and again I check VPilot as well in case Bristol Tower or anything like that's come online, but still nothing. The smaller airfields very rarely get coverage, unfortunately, unless there's a big event on. But if London West is online, which it isn't today, they would cover Bristol as well, top down. But again, they're rarely online. Being a short runway as well, Bristol requires medium on auto brake, apparently, but we might just select low for the purpose of today. I've never had any problems on low anyway, so we'll select low. And we've got all our destination data input anyway, so we've got to have approach speed of 130 knots. Although that will probably drop again when we go to full flaps. The sim doesn't quite yet predict that properly. So we can see Avonmouth dead ahead, Bristol's just the other side of that through the clouds. So I would imagine down below us there's we'll have Worcestershire, Worcester and a few other bits down there. And if we were flying further left, more sort of towards the east, we could in theory fly all the way down the M5 corridor, which takes us all the way to Bristol Airport. But obviously we're flying to airways and things, so we can't do that. But if you're flying VFR, you want visual reference points, easiest thing to do if you're tracking across the country is just follow a motorway. You can see there it's taking us onto different routes and things, so we're just going to fly out of Dobham directly ahead, and then we're going to look at flying in base and then a final leg. So I'm going to go ahead and put manual heading select on, and then I'm going to dictate a descent now down to just 3,000 for now. Bristol traffic, easy 2569, passing Rilez, descending through flight level 160. We'll leave Rilez heading 185 to make left base runway 09. So instead of flying the NDB approach like we did on the way in, we'll just fly and vector ourselves in. On SimBrief it should give you different SIDs, Matthew. One of the preliminary parts of the website, I'll show you, I'll try and just bring it up very quickly. So when you're in this initial setup page for your flight plan, if you know that you've got a different departure runway to what you're expecting, you can just go ahead and change one of those, and it will get a message there saying, do you wish to automatically select a new SID or star for the runway? You'd tick yes, and then it would build a new departure, so that girly 3 X-ray would change to a different option. So that's the best way to do it. What you then want to do is just verify, so you click the IFPS validation. It brings up a pop-up page where you can copy the flight plan, and there's a link on that same page as well, so you just follow the instructions on that page to go through Eurocontrol validation, and it will tell you if it's a correct route or not. But I also then compare it against ChartFox, just to make sure that it tallies up with whatever I can find in the sim. Being an AirAC from 2019, March 2019, some of the SIDs and stars on SimBrief likely don't exist anymore. So we have to be mindful of that. Afternoon commentator, good to see you joining in again. Thanks for tuning back in. So we see now we're passing that constraint, and the auto throttle can't quite decide what speed it should be doing, so it just tried to go back to 290 and then it went straight back to 250. So this is one of the bugs that I've noticed is hitting the Airbus at the moment. Whether it happens again or not I'm not sure, but we can preempt that by just going on to manual speed select. And that'll do us instead. We'll put some spoilers out. Downwind, left base, right base, etc. I've done a tutorial on how to fly a circuit which explains it a little bit better, and we actually use Bristol Airport for that. But it's basically a different position within the circuit. So once you take off, if you're going to fly a left circuit after you take off, and you turn left for that first leg, if you like, if you drew a box in the sky, that first leg would be crosswind. You then turn left again to fly parallel to the runway, which would be your downwind leg, and then the next box, that third turn, before you go on to finals, that third turn is base. So if we were flying along where it says flight level 160 there, that would be downwind, but from USR to CI09 on the nav display, that line there is left base for runway 09, and then once we turn on for finals, we'll be flying finals. I'm just trying to make sure we vector ourselves in nicely. Remind myself of the local QNH as well, which is 992, and I'll get that set ready. And I'm actually going to go ahead and just activate approach phase now, because I can then click manage speed and it will hold our green dot speed. So through the cloud, and we're going to pass 10,000 as well, so I'll put the lights on, but through the cloud we'll put icing on as well. Onto 2.8, we're still on there. There's Graham. So by extending our arrival, we're giving ourselves more separation from Graham flying in. If we had TCAS, that would obviously have kicked in as well to show our position. And then we'll make our way in for our final approach. Just another quick check on vPilot to make sure Bristol Tower or anything like that hasn't come on already, and that's all clear still.
Bristol traffic, this is EZ567 as established on the flight slope and localizer for runway 09 at Bristol.
So that means he's already on his way, so we can start turning an extended left base. Bristol traffic EZ2569, flying a very extended left base for runway 09 at 20 miles out. So we're going to have lots of separation distance. He's already on finals, he said, so that's good for us. I'm going to keep flying round.
EZ567, Bristol traffic for info, I am 7.5 nautical miles away from the field.
So he's quite close. Let's get rid of that speed brake for now. We can bring our rate of descent down a little bit as well. So over Avon, Well, Avonmouth, I suppose, just all over there. Then go ahead and select local pressure.
Easy 567, contacting Bristol Tower 133.85.
Oh, brilliant. Bristol Tower's just come online. 13385. 13385. Right, let me just get the Bristol
Bristol Tower,
ATIS.
good evening. This is Easy 567 with you on ILS approach runway 09. Easy 567, Bristol Tower, good afternoon. The surface winds are 040 degrees, 12 knots, runway 09, clear to land. Clear to land, runway 09, Easy 567.
So I'm trying to fly accurately towards that CI09 because we don't want to activate that false glide slope. Yeah, when it's building the METARs, the only way Unreal Weather can transition all of this through is to make a little bit of a weird mess with it all. There's Bristol off in the distance. You know what, he might trigger us to actually have to go around at this rate. So let's start configuring for our approach now. Oh, micro stutter, that had me nervous. We've got all of that on. Could probably turn icing off. Bristol Tower, good evening, Easy 2569 with information Papa. Currently at 10 miles, 09 to land, established in the ILS.
Easy 2569, Bristol Tower, good afternoon. Continue approach, your number 2.
Continue approach, number 2, Easy 2569. Here we go, we're making our way in for our final approach. Trying to slow the aircraft down as best as I can, so we're using a combination of flaps, speed brake, and a few other bits just to help bring us down there. And what you have to watch out for is the aircraft falsely activating that localizer mode when we hit 3000. It might flick across again in a second. You can see we started to level off there and lose the glide slope. Once we go through 3000 we know that we're okay. There we go, so we're good. So I had to recycle approach phase there, in case you hadn't noticed. We can go gear down. We can clear the spoilers and get all that started. All cool. Looks like we're potentially slightly to the left of the threshold. And we've got full flaps. Yeah, that's a good idea, Matthew. I could certainly work on that for you guys. Just waiting for our clearance to land now. We can see Graham, he's just ahead, he's just tickling that threshold on the arrival runway. So we've slowed ourselves down as much as we physically can so we get all of that separation, because really you want about 2 minutes or so. We've got 5 miles now to run, as we can see on that nav display. Interestingly, oh there we go. So the landing checklist hadn't updated itself there.
Easy 567 vacating onto taxiway Bravo. Easy 567, thanks. Welcome to Bristol, taxi stand 23. Taxi stand 23 via Bravo and Zulu, Easy 567. Easy 2569, the surface winds are 040 degrees, 12 knots, runway 09, clear to land.
Clear land 09, Easy 2569. nice and stable on the approach. We've got a slight crosswind.
EG567, just double check, it was stand 27.
We can see we've got 2 red, 2 white.
EG567, negative stand 23. Apologies, 23 for EGD 567.
Coming up to 1,300 on the radar, which is in green on that primary flight display. So that's our distance from the ground itself. And we've got our missed approach altitude set. We're at 1,000 feet, so we continue. We're nice and stable on the approach, and we'll review again before minimums. Hard control. So we're flat manually. We're fighting with the crosswind ever so slightly. The aircraft was just losing that glide slope, so just taken over very quickly before we flying too high. We have more work to do if we have to chase the glide slope, and then more chance of declaring a missed approach. 500 feet.
Minimum 300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20. 10, 5.
Go down. Just trying to get our steering sorted. There we go. Take over manual braking. As you can see, we only needed low there, really. I'll just quickly get our charts ready. So we're going to vacate a Bravo, and I've got our parking docking charts ready. We've got... What is that? Apparently they're going to fix this so aircraft don't keep doing this, but it is bloody annoying. Wrecks the immersion a little bit, doesn't it?
EG2569, welcome to Bristol, taxi stand 24.
Stand 24 for EG2569. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. EG567 straight down, gate 23, thank you very much and good night.
So just sort out
No problem, many thanks for flying down to Bristol, good night.
a few bits on the aircraft. We've got strobes and everything off. We've got nose light on low, onto taxi. So we are back at UK 2000's scenery. Yeah, this is UK 2000 who do the Bristol Airport scenery. I purchased it a couple of months ago, and it is quite nice. I purchased it more for nostalgia, more than anything else. Yeah, I was a little bit too harsh on the rudder at the last minute, really. So is that UK 2000 scenery again? So that's where we started off from, stand 1. And stand 24. Turning in, we can turn the nose light off, and APU's available there. We can see at the top, so we'll stick that on bleed. Apparently there's going to be a replay function built in at some point in the very near future. So Asobo have said they're going to work on that in their dev update. Thanks to whoever just clicked subscribe. So on stand, nicely on the line, and we go ahead and turn engine 2 off. Engine 1 off. It took us to we went from Bristol to Newcastle, and then we did a turnaround, dealt with the crash to desktop, and then we flew back to Bristol. Let's spawn baggage, catering, and all the rest of it. With Pushback Express, where are they? I've just clicked them. GUI, clicky clicky, nothing's happening. Well, Pushback Express doesn't work for some reason all of a sudden. There we go, guys. Bristol Airport is quite a nice little airport to head in from. It's an odd angle there to spawn at. So there's quite a few things worked on, including the entire terminal building off in the distance there. Let's do the drone cam. It's a nice little one to use if you're getting getting started on VATSIM as well, and you want to play with some NDB arrivals and things like that. It's quite cool. If you're going to spawn at GA, there's a little general aviation parking area just down on the south of the airfield there for you guys as well, if you like to fly the Cessnas. But it's a nice little small airport to get your head around, with some fantastic scenery around you as well. If you were flying up from 27, for example, on a GA, and you just wanted a little short hop somewhere, as an idea, you could take off, keep heading west, and fly off to Cardiff, which is just down on the coast, right in the distance. Make sure you guys join us tomorrow for our group flight, live streamed on the channel. We're going to go onto the Microsoft Flight Simulator multiplayer servers, and we're going to take over Corfu. And we're all going to head over to Skiathos in whatever aircraft that you might want to fly in. So I'd imagine someone's going to try and fit a 787 in there. You can fly wherever you want. Make sure you join us at 1 o'clock UK time in the afternoon, which is 8 AM Eastern. So just work out whatever time zone you guys are in. If you're new to the channel, you are always welcome to join us on Discord, and join us tomorrow for the group flight if you're free. It's going to be some good fun. We'll go through charts and things as well as we're en route, and we're going to open up most likely a voice chat on Discord as well, so everybody could talk to each other. Thank you everybody for tuning in, especially those who were waiting patiently whilst I dealt with that crash to desktop as well. Just one of those things with Microsoft Flight Simulator that we have to regularly deal with. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow for that group flight. Make sure you join us for it. Have a good night.
Good afternoon, it's EZ3 Papa Mike AC19 on span 6. Information Papa requesting departure clearance to Jersey.
EZ3 Papa Mike, Mr. Tag, good afternoon. Nuclear to Jersey, XMOR 10 departure, squawk 3376,